Welcome back to Dental Practice Masters. If you're just tuning in, we're a dental practice management advising company that at this time is dedicated to helping practices get through the COVID-19 outbreak. Before we begin, once again, two disclosures. First, this situation is very dynamic. As such, the information becomes outdated incredibly quickly. As a result, you'll see a date on all of our videos at this time. Second, we're not an HR company, accountants, attorneys, so none of this information represents anything other than sharing some information. The attempt to help in an environment where information is everywhere but nowhere in particular. Today we're going to talk about health insurance. When we're discussing health insurance, we need to consider a few things. First, the size of the business. Second, we need to look at if it is a multiple employer entity or a single employer entity. If you're in the vast majority of dental practices, you're a single employer small business, which is under 20 employees. If you're a multiple employer entity or larger than 20 employees, federal COBRA rules will then apply outside of a few exceptions, and there is a 63-day period that the details of the coverage can be remedied. For the remainder of the video, we'll speak mainly to the majority of you, which is the small business. If you're making the decisions needed over the coming weeks regarding layoffs and you provide health insurance, you likely will be eliminating health insurance. For these situations, state COBRA, also called mini COBRA, will come into play. Each state is different with this. For most, a layoff is certainly a qualifying event, and they very likely will receive a tax credit at that time to help with the situation. For some states, a reduction in hours qualifies the employee for coverage as well. The length of time for the mini COBRA differs from state to state, but some states cover people as long as 36 months. Most states have a maximum allowable charge for the person applying. The majority seem to be the premium that they have been exposed to with their recently terminated coverage. The employee can also go to the marketplace to seek health insurance. This can be done on the web through an agent, etc. These are their options for maintaining coverage during this difficult time. If you have to drop the employees that are laid off, you may have concerns if you still qualify for a group coverage plan. There are some differences from insurance company to insurance company, but most companies will evaluate this at the time of the annual renewal. It is not out of the question for you to drop every person but one and still have the ability to maintain that group plan up to the time where you would need to renew and then have enough employees back employed to meet that threshold to be renewed. The terms of your contractual agreement would apply, and each company is completely different. So reaching out to your agent would be in your best interest if you have concerns about this. If you lay off your employees for a temporary time frame and drop their benefits accordingly, most insurance companies will cover them until the end of the month. Based on the potential extension of the Family and Medical Leave Act to our businesses, you will need to strategically consider the date of your layoff accordingly. There may be some of you that need to lay employees off, maybe in a position and a mindset to consider paying their premiums for a period of time so they don't lose their coverage. This is a personal decision, but has some potential challenges. First, there may be provisions in your contract that allow for this to happen during temporary leave of absences. The first challenge is if you can call it a temporary layoff, a temporary leave of absence with all the correspondence with the insurance company. You have to be careful not to violate any employment law here, and you have to be clear on these things with the insurance company. This should be discussed with the agent. If you were to violate any of these sections, not only could you be in danger of violating employment law, but upon your renewal, part of the insurance company's decision to renew you or not is the determination if you have been following the rules of contractual agreement in place. One of the things that they could look at is if all employees were treated equal during this time. We hope this helps you get started on your journey. We encourage you to reach out to your agent for specific questions about how to handle these things and make sure that during this especially difficult time, you're following the rules of the law in all ways. We want you all to be safe in the coming weeks and get out of this on the sunny side. Count your blessings.